I will be seeking arrest for individuals involved. I will be pressing charges.
A Dolton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now
Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dolton and Thornton Township, finds herself at the center of a spiraling political storm. Her tenure, marked by extravagant self-promotion and erratic leadership, has drawn ire from residents and trustees alike, turning what should be governance into a spectacle reminiscent of reality TV. Allegations of financial mismanagement and political infighting have plunged the community into chaos, leaving many questioning her priorities and ability to lead. Critics accuse Henyard of prioritizing her public image over Dolton's mounting issues, including economic deficits, disorganized governance, and misuse of public funds. Her controversial skating rink project, which cost taxpayers millions, is emblematic of her so-called vanity projects, seemingly aimed at boosting her personal profile rather than addressing community needs. Adding to the controversy are reports of extravagant spending on government credit cards, with one investigation uncovering a staggering $40,000 spent in a single day on luxury furniture and high-end travel. Henyard's leadership style has further alienated trustees who describe her unilateral decision-making as reckless and dismissive of protocol. Township meetings have devolved into chaotic shouting matches, with frustrated trustees accusing her of grandstanding and driving Dolton toward financial ruin. The town's general fund, once robust, now faces a severe deficit. Her proposal to return property taxes to residents, a move widely criticized as a vote-buying scheme, has been dismissed as both irresponsible and unfeasible, given the precarious financial state of the township. Meanwhile, federal authorities have launched investigations into allegations of embezzlement and corruption, intensifying the scrutiny on Henyard. Reports suggest her mismanagement extends beyond excessive spending to misuse of funds for personal security and lavish events. Public outrage has reached a boiling point, with recent town hall meetings turning hostile. Residents, fed up with unfulfilled promises and mounting scandals, turned their backs on Henyard as she spoke, signaling widespread discontent. Despite the controversies, Henyard remains defiant, portraying herself as a bold leader under attack by entrenched political forces. Drawing comparisons to controversial figures of the past, she claims to be the victim of an orchestrated campaign to oust her. Yet her increasingly bizarre behavior, including vague accusations against unnamed opponents and unfulfilled promises, such as launching a podcast to set the record straight, has only deepened public skepticism. One of the most contentious issues has been her apparent eviction from her residence, even as she faces criticism for hosting poorly attended, taxpayer-funded events. These incidents, coupled with financial mismanagement, have left Dolton and Thornton Township in a state of disarray. Trustees and residents alike are calling for accountability, with some demanding her resignation. As the controversies surrounding Henyard grow, the community is left grappling with the fallout of her leadership. The question remains, how much longer can Henyard maintain her grip on power, and what lasting impact will her tenure have on Dolton's future? The town's residents, weary of the drama, are yearning for stability and competent leadership to guide them out of this tumultuous chapter.
While suburban politician Tiffany Henyard appears to have lost control of both governments.
Imagine arriving at a Thornton Township meeting, expecting routine discussions on local matters, updates on projects, typical bureaucratic exchanges. Instead, you step into what can only be described as a live-action disaster, a chaotic spectacle resembling a reality show gone off the rails. At the heart of this mayhem is Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, already mired in legal troubles over unpaid rent and engulfed by a storm of scandals. Unfazed by mounting criticism, Henyard appears intent on solidifying her grip on the township, a move that quickly sends the meeting spiraling into dysfunction. Accusations fly across the room, voices are raised, and trustees openly challenge Henyard's disregard for procedure. Frustrated by her attempts to unilaterally push decisions, trustees clash with her in heated exchanges while the audience alternates between voicing outrage and watching the debacle unfold like a train wreck they can't look away from. The disarray mirrors Henyard's broader leadership issues. Her tenure has been riddled with controversy, from allegations of misusing taxpayer funds for lavish events and personal expenses to persistent clashes with trustees over her decision-making style. Critics accuse her of prioritizing self-promotion over the township's genuine needs, citing high-profile but poorly received initiatives as evidence of mismanagement. Despite Thornton Township facing severe financial shortfalls, Henyard remains undeterred. She dismisses concerns and doubles down on decisions detractors label as reckless. Public trust erodes further with every revelation, including her widely criticized proposal to return property taxes to residents, a move deemed financially unfeasible and a desperate ploy to regain support. As the meeting drags on, the atmosphere oscillates between frustration and disbelief. Residents are left questioning how their local government descended into such chaos and what it will take to restore order and accountability. What should have been a platform for governance has become a cautionary tale, leaving Thornton Township in search of a path forward.
Fortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said,
The tensions were already high as the Thornton Township meeting began, setting the stage for another contentious clash under Supervisor Tiffany Henyard's leadership. Accusations of misusing taxpayer funds and leveraging her position for personal gain have placed Henyard at odds with trustees, and the friction was palpable. Trustee Kiana Caro attempted to join the session via phone, a seemingly routine request, but Henyard swiftly shut it down, asserting, "If you have not been here, you should have shown up to the board meeting to take care of the business." The sharp rebuke set the tone for the meeting, making it clear Henyard had no interest in collaboration or compromise. Instead, the proceedings spiraled into a showcase of her heavy-handed, domineering leadership style, leaving no room for dissent or constructive dialogue. Rather than addressing pressing township issues, Henyard appeared focused on consolidating her authority. Her refusal to accommodate Caro's participation sidelined the trustee and sent a clear message: cooperation was not on Henyard's agenda. This power play reinforced broader criticisms of her tenure, marked by pettiness, a dismissive attitude toward alternative perspectives, and a growing list of alienated allies. The meeting itself became a microcosm of the larger issues plaguing Henyard's leadership: tension, disarray, and a relentless focus on control over governance. Critics viewed her actions as yet another instance of prioritizing ego over the township's needs, further eroding public trust in her administration. As residents and trustees watched the meeting devolve, frustration mounted over Henyard's apparent unwillingness to engage in transparent, inclusive decision-making. Her behavior underscored the divisions and dysfunction that have come to define her tenure, leaving the community questioning whether she is capable of leading Thornton Township toward stability and accountability.
Henyard making a late appearance at the Dolton Village Board meeting this evening. That meeting was being held at the Park District building since Village Hall cannot legally accommodate the crowds in a typical.
The latest Thornton Township meeting was more than just another stage for Supervisor Tiffany Henyard's power plays. It had real stakes. Key issues on the agenda included approving minutes from the previous meeting and, more importantly, discussing a proposed $2 million tax refund for Dolton residents. This refund could have been a unifying moment for local leaders to set aside differences and work for the community's benefit. Instead, the meeting spiraled into dysfunction, derailed by Henyard's authoritarian style. Trustee Chris Gonzalez, already exasperated by Henyard's antics, walked out mid-meeting. His departure ended the quorum, halting any chance for a vote on the tax refund. Predictably, Henyard tried to shift blame, accusing Gonzalez and other trustees of not doing the people's work. But critics argue it's near impossible to accomplish anything under Henyard's domineering leadership. Her dismissive, chaotic approach has turned governance into a spectacle. Meanwhile, Henyard's personal dramas loom large over her public role. She's reportedly facing eviction from her home after failing to pay rent for months. Landlord Janetta Hull, once a friend, claims Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, stopped paying rent in August and even changed the locks on Hull's property. Hull says she's owed over $5,000 in back rent and is pursuing legal action. The situation raises eyebrows, given that Henyard and Woods reportedly earn over $300,000 annually in taxpayer-funded salaries. Hull voiced her frustration, stating, "As a mayor, you'd think they'd uphold positive standards. Instead, they act like they can do whatever they want." Adding to Henyard's woes is a federal investigation into her spending habits. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was brought in to review Dolton's finances, uncovering troubling details. In 2022, Dolton's general fund boasted a $5 million balance. By mid-2024, it had plunged into a $365 million deficit. Lightfoot's investigation revealed Henyard had been using the village's credit card for personal purchases, including $43,000 spent in a single day on Amazon. Henyard has yet to explain these expenses. The audit also exposed lavish taxpayer-funded trips to luxury hotels like the Four Seasons in Atlanta and the Marriott Marquis in New York City, which Henyard claims were for the people. Critics counter that such spending serves no clear public benefit, especially as Dolton struggles with financial mismanagement. The village owes over $6 million in unpaid vendor checks, and some employees worry their paychecks may not arrive. Even the police department wasn't spared scrutiny. 2 officers were found to have earned more in overtime than their base salaries, with one officer making over $114,000 in overtime alone. These findings only add to the outrage over Henyard's governance, as the village teeters on financial collapse. As Henyard fights to maintain control, residents and trustees are left to grapple with the fallout of her controversial leadership. With Dolton's financial health in jeopardy, her focus on self-promotion and questionable spending has left the community questioning how long this turbulent chapter will last.
Gallery of
Body, is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's
Controversy surrounding Dolton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard has reached a boiling point. What should have been a routine meeting turned into another spectacle of dysfunction, with important agenda items like a $2 million tax refund left unresolved as infighting overshadowed governance. Henyard's domineering leadership style, coupled with allegations of misuse of taxpayer funds, has left residents and trustees exasperated, while federal investigations into her spending loom large. One glaring issue is Henyard's use of police officers as her personal security detail. Critics argue that this not only drains village resources, but also leaves fewer officers available to address rising crime rates in Dolton. Meanwhile, basic services are crumbling, and recent water main breaks have highlighted the village's infrastructure woes, which Henyard blames on budget cuts. However, many residents see these problems as a direct result of her mismanagement. Despite pulling in over $300,000 in taxpayer-funded salaries between herself and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, Henyard faces eviction for failing to pay rent. Her landlord, once a friend, claims she and Woods owe over $5,000 and even changed the locks to keep her out of her own property. This personal scandal only adds to the mountain of accusations against her, including lavish spending on first-class flights, luxury hotels, and a staggering $43,000 on Amazon in a single day, all charged to the village. Federal investigations are digging deeper into Henyard's finances, including her use of public funds, political committee spending, and even her charity organization. Preliminary findings have revealed troubling details, such as the depletion of Dolton's general fund from $5 million in 2022 to a $365 million deficit by 2024. Local vendors are owed over $6 million, and there's concern over whether village employees will continue to be paid. Henyard's defenders claim her spending builds relationships and attracts investment for Dolton, but residents see little evidence of this. Instead, they view her trips as personal indulgences rather than efforts to improve the community. With Dolton sinking deeper into debt, Henyard's decisions are increasingly under scrutiny. Her leadership style also raises alarm. During a Facebook Live rant, Henyard hinted at seeking the arrest of unnamed political opponents, accusing them of a power and money grab. This tactic, seen as an attempt to silence critics, underscores her focus on maintaining control rather than addressing the pressing needs of the village. Despite these controversies, Henyard is pushing forward with her re-election campaign. In a bold move, she has painted herself as the victim of a smear campaign, claiming she's committed to fighting for her constituents. However, her detractors argue that her focus is on preserving power, not solving Dolton's mounting problems. The village is over $5 million in debt. Essential services are being cut, and frustration among residents is palpable. Many openly call for Henyard to step down, labeling her as the worst mayor in America. As her re-election bid ramps up and federal investigations intensify, Dolton's future hangs in the balance. Will residents finally demand accountability, or will Henyard manage to hold on to power despite the scandals? The fate of Dolton lies in the hands of its residents, who must decide whether to endure more of Henyard's turbulent leadership or to chart a new course for their community.